Economy. Let's go now to the Union buildings to see if that address is in the offing. Minister of the Presidency, Jackson Mthembu, speaking to journalists about whether or not the President will address the nation today.
Thank you, Mrs. Diko. Colleagues, as we have indicated at 6 o'clock, the meeting is still continuing. There are very weighty matters before the National Command Council. Amongst others, the socio-economic impact on our people of this coronavirus. And how do we mitigate that impact? So that's the issue that is before our National Command Council. But also the impact of this virus on the poor, the vulnerable, and workers. How should government then respond? As you know, this is not only a matter that South Africa is pondering, it's a matter that all countries are looking at. That's why then it's not an easy matter. We could not just dispose of this matter within a few hours. The meeting is continuing, is likely to continue until very late. Therefore, there is no possibility that the President will address the nation tonight. We are now making arrangements that the President addresses the nation tomorrow.
Thank you, Minister. I'm not going to see hands, so if you'd like a question to step forward. Yes, sir.
Okay, just one question. I think the President has issued a statement about Reverend Meshwe, basically saying he has confirmed. So when did he confirm this? That he is
testing.
Well, we know that Reverend Meshwe has confirmed going for a test. So we will await the test results. So let's give Reverend Meshwe and his family at least that privacy for now. But as a public figure, he will obviously indicate to all of us, particularly those that he has been in contact with, what is the outcome of his testing. Yes, we all know that he has been to a test. We await the results of his test.
Okay, are there any other issues? Perhaps just to add and to allay fears that the President is in good health. I know that a lot of the questions were around whether he would be going for a test because Reverend Meshwe was in contact with him. There's absolutely no need for that. As the protocols indicate, we will only make that decision once we get guidance from health following Reverend Meshwe's test.
Of course, again, we can only make again that decision if there are again symptoms. So far, there are no symptoms from the President that necessitates that he must undergo any test. But we can assure you that if there is evidence that the President must undergo any test, or any of us, we will not even wink an eye. We will not hesitate. We will do so.
Okay, just one more, Mr. Mthembu. I think South Africans, I'm sure you've seen on radio, on television, on social media, are really anxious about this moment. If their president is not going to address them tonight, don't you think it increases the anxiety? So why can't the President and the team conclude, and then as soon as he concludes, and then he addresses, because that space leaves an opportunity for many to either spread fake news or just manipulate the information.
That's why we're here, to say to South Africans, the matters that the National Command Council is dealing with are very weighty matters that are indeed of concern to many South Africans. So we don't want to take shortcuts. So that when the President speaks to the nation, indeed the President would have covered all the bases, as these discussions would have armed the President to deal with all these issues that South Africans are worried of. So it will not be helpful for the president to speak to the people of South Africa when the structure that advises the president, and that is the National Command Council, has not concluded its business, has not looked at all the issues that affect South Africans, and has not looked at the impact of this virus to the various vulnerable people of our country. But secondly, what are the measures we put in place? In view, what are the mitigating measures we are putting in place? But of course, you'll also know that already we have put in place a number of measures to deal with the coronavirus pandemic. What we needed also to do was to see to what extent are those measures being implemented, are they implementable, and if indeed they are not, what other measures do we need to take on behalf of South Africans in the whole notion of trying to protect South Africans from this virus. So it is in the interest of South Africans that we are in this meeting. It is in the interest of South Africans that when the president speaks to them, the president indeed has been advised properly on all these matters that are facing our people, and he's able to speak to all those issues. So we think it's better late than take corners in our view. So tomorrow the president, again, we have said that he was likely to address the nation today. So we are saying definitely now, because he has had the meeting that needs to advise him on these measures that he will be putting before the nation. So that meeting having concluded tonight, the president will then be able to address the nation tomorrow. Let's suppose again the meeting ends at 12 o'clock tonight. It will be unfair for the president to then address people who are sleeping. I don't think that it will be fair. Let's allow this meeting to conclude. It will conclude late tonight, and then tomorrow at an appropriate time, which we will make South Africa aware of tomorrow morning, let the president address the nation.
One last question before we close. Yes, Mr. Mbogo?
Just how critical to the conversation that's going on currently is the input that was given by business this morning, including, of course, the views of the CEOs of the banks and other financial institutions that actually addressed the president this morning.
The suggestions that have been made by all stakeholders is part of the meeting that we are having now. Both business, political parties. You know that the president also met with political parties. The president met with church leaders and faith-based organizations. So all those issues are also before the National Command Council. Indeed, they are contributing immensely to what the president will say to the nation. That's why we're meeting with everybody, because under these circumstances, we need, as South Africa, to work in unison. And whatever else the president then will say to the nation should be and must be informed by these interactions that we have had with various stakeholders in our country.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think let's hold this update here for now. As indicated, we will not then be having any further briefings this evening. Maybe just to also make the point that we must stop spreading fake news and to appeal to people not to do that. There are no statements that are going to be released by the presidency or government during the course of the night. The regulations as outlined by the president, they remain in force, and we're asking everybody to stay safe and ensure that they observe those particular protocols. But no information. We've already seen a memo purporting to be from the Department of Basic Education. It is fake. No memo or anything will be coming to government from government until the president speaks. Thank you very much, and thank you once again for your patience today. Thank you, Minister Mthembu.
Thank you, colleagues.
So there you have it, the breaking news that after much anticipation, President Cyril Ramaphosa won't be addressing the nation this evening. He was expected to address us at 6 p.m. but as the Minister and the Presidency mentioned earlier on, lots of consultations underway. The gravity of the situation really making it starkly clear that there are too many I's to dot and too many T's to cross. And this is not a matter for, at least extemporizing on what policy directives to take, but something that really needs the consensus of all stakeholders, and that also needs political party. Another thing that the spokesperson for the president said was emphasizing that there is no need at this point for the president to undertake a test for COVID-19 because he's been in close proximity with the ACDP leader, Reverend Kenneth Meshwe, who has said that he submitted himself to a test. This is after he was at a church gathering. But the call not to be alarmed over the president's health because, according to the presidency, he's still receiving counsel from the medical teams, but at the moment there is no reason to be concerned. So tomorrow morning, that seems to be the indication that President Cyril Ramaphosa will be addressing the nation after meeting with business leaders and other stakeholders, including government officials, about what steps to take to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. So we continue the conversation with my colleague, Arabile Kumeto. We're looking at the live COVID